Number 2 on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion? Support to adopt the agenda as is. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. 3, the approval of the minutes of the 7/16 regular meeting and the 7/24/12 joint meeting. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the 7/16/12 regular meeting as well as the 7/24/12 joint meeting minutes as presented. Support.
Motion made, supported, to accept these minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You folks hearing me okay?
Not very good. I was just gonna say, can you turn your voices up?
Yeah. Get a little closer. I think it's full blast. Yeah, it's full speed right now. So. Now's the time we set aside for citizens' comments. A lot of people here tonight, and I figured there's a lot of opinions. We have, of course, your vote tomorrow, and your opinions be made then. I would appreciate it if we could keep the political issues down. If you would, please. But this is the time for you. Would anybody like to make a citizen comment? If you would, you need to step up to the microphone, give us your name and your comments.
Good evening. My name's Gary White, and first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here. Usually we don't have this big of a crowd, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Second of all, excuse me, certain people I run into, they'll ask me where I live, and I'll tell them Egelston Township, and they say, oh, you're not out there, are you? So obviously, we have to do something to get our, what I want to say, to get the people to start liking us again, I guess, out here, instead of the way we're doing things, we're running or whatever. And third of all, I'd like to ask that, obviously, we're going to the polls tomorrow to vote, and if certain people don't get elected, that certain people want, are we going to have a do-over like we've had with the fire station so many times? Or is this going to be fine?
Sit down.
We'll follow the law, certainly.
Thank
you. My name is Lois Bryant, and known on the other page as Lee, my nickname. I want to thank you all for everything you've done. I think over the past, since the fire department mess has started, we as a community have fallen apart, accused, adjused, and everything. I wanted to say thanks for all the good things that have happened. Mike, you're my friend, and I personally wanted to say, even though I'm going to outright say I can't vote for you this time, and I think you know why. You and I discussed that the last election. I don't feel like you've let me down, but I think that the community turmoil has let us all down over what's happened. So I'm going to ask everyone here, and you've all heard my opinions, please treat these people with respect. If you don't vote for them, or you do, when you get up to the microphone, please. This is our township hall, and we all deserve the respect, whether you like them or not.
Good evening. My name is Raj Shadai. I'm associated with the movement known as Occupy Muskegon. I'm here to give you a heads up on a situation which has developed at the County Commission. A judge in New York by the name of Gideon J. Tucker in 1866 famously said that no man's life, liberty, or property are safe while the legislature is in session. The legislative body in this case in point being the Muskegon County Commission. A couple of weeks ago they had a little meeting. They rescheduled it about 4 times. They finally announced it as a special meeting, but they didn't say what the subject was going to be. Well, the subject was, in fact, hydraulic fracturing for oil and gas. And they were talking about doing it in your backyard. And I don't think they invited many of you to it. We found out about it because we had attended an earlier meeting, and we had found out they were going to look into doing oil and gas leasing on the water treatment property. Now, at this meeting, no public comment was permitted. This is a violation of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. In fact, when we wanted to talk about fracking, they called the sheriff to shut us up. Now, this is a year of drought, as you all know. Many of us have had to use irrigation to take care of our gardens or farms. And to do irrigation, you have to have good water. You can't use lighter fluid. In some places where fracking has gone wrong, it's hydraulic fracturing, the water supply has turned into essentially lighter fluid, groundwater. So one single fracking well can contaminate billions of gallons of water. It may not happen while they're actually doing the fracking. It may happen years later from an orphan well when the well casing fails and hydrocarbons get into your water supply. And of course, if you try to sue at that point, probably the company's disappeared. If they're still around, they'll try to claim that it was all due to natural causes. Had nothing to do with their wells, of course. And I'm just giving you this heads up, asking you to be vigilant. The county is up to no good on this subject as far as I'm concerned. And it's something to watch out for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Matt Crehan. I'm also affiliated with Occupy Muskegon. The county board is attempting to go ahead and pull something else behind our backs, and that's the construction of a new jail. Approximately 12 years ago, myself and my group defeated the millage proposal for the new jail, and since then they've still tried to figure out a way to get it behind our backs. Now what they're talking about doing is bonding for it. So we're not going to have any public say in the process. They're just going to go ahead and say, look, we want to build a new jail, we're going to build a new jail, we don't care what the people think about it. Now, granted, there's some people that belong in jail, but at random, I got on the sheriff's website, and I found that there were 40 people in there for drug offenses, 17 in there for drunk driving, 7 of them for not paying child support, 6 of them for failing to register as a sex offender, and 2 of them are in there for transporting an open receptacle. Now, most of those people don't present a clear, present, imminent danger to any of us. Maybe they should be punished some way, but putting them in jail is quite expensive, and we need to spend the county money on something more beneficial like road patrols. So we need your help to go ahead and put some pressure on your county commissioner. In this case, your present one is Jim Derazinski, and he's one of the instigators behind this jail project. This should be put to a vote of the people, and it's up to us to decide whether we want a new jail or not. It's certainly not up to the county board of commissioners to take on that big of a project without our input and approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patricia Brown. Good evening. On behalf of the Festival Committee, as the chairperson, we'd like to say thank you for supporting this past Egelston Wolf Lake Festival. The festival was a success, especially with the addition of the 5K, the parade, and the euchre tournament. We would like to thank each and every sponsor and volunteer that stepped up for this event. It could not have been a success without them. We are aware there were a couple people that were smoking under the fire tent, or under the tent. As we spoke with the fire chief, we knew that we couldn't police all of it, but we are aware that there was some, but we did do our due diligence to make sure the signs were posted. And I just want to say thanks for everything from everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Nye. I'm also associated with Occupy Muskegon, and you just heard from my dad. I just have a couple of things to add. First of all, We are doing a video, or we're trying to do video. We'll see if it actually comes out. This is a dry run. It will be available at our website, occupymuskegon.net/omnews, or if you just go to the homepage, it's going to be in a tab at the top. Another thing I wanted to bring up, though, about fracking, there are some resources that you may be interested in. One is foodandwaterwatch.org has put out some publications. One that you may want to take a look at is the case for a ban on gas fracking. It does a pretty good job of outlining the history of the practice across the country. This document, not so much worldwide, but the name is the Case for a Ban on Gas Fracking, and it's at foodandwaterwatch.org. There are a number of others studies available. I would read the executive summary, but we probably don't have time. And also, if people haven't heard of it, just to get a first-hand view of this issue and the impact it's had on local communities across the country, I do recommend a film directed by a fellow by the name of Josh Fox called Gasland. And if you want to see people lighting their tap water on fire out in Pennsylvania, and that was filmed there. I believe that, but there's been issues with this all across the country. Out in Utah, there are some case reports in there of people's livestock just becoming ill and dying off from these wells. And one thing I do want to highlight is it's always a numbers game with things like this. Number one, a certain number of wells are going to be structurally intact, but there's always going to be a certain percentage that fail. And it's also a numbers game in the sense that these structures, and the disruption that is caused by the hydraulic fracturing is permanent. It's a permanent change to the rock strata. And if the casements, the well casings fail decades down the line, you have potentially some ticking time bombs. So it's something to think about, something to educate yourselves about, and keep in mind that this type of hydraulic fracturing was pioneered by Halliburton around the beginning of the first term of George W. Bush. And prior to its being approved, there were maneuvers undertaken to ensure that the EPA and the Clean Water Act would specifically not apply to this practice. It's essentially the EPA has been saying for the past decade that their hands are tied. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Roger Roll, and I want to make a comment toward the person that one of the gentlemen here talked about Egelston Township. I don't believe that he knows Egelston Township very well. I mean, if he had lived out here, he'd find out that most of the people in this township are very pleasing and well with this township. So if he's around, I hope he's listening.
Hi, my name is Mary Jones, and I just want to say, folks, I really appreciate these gentlemen coming here and informing us, because they say history repeats itself. And many, many years ago, with the sewer thing, we really didn't have a choice either. It was brought in, and then after that, we tried to do some things. So, everyone, please pay attention to this. And I would like to ask if that movie is available to the public here, if we can buy it. Do we have some funds? And we can start showing some free movies, because our natural resources here in Michigan are the one thing that we have. And if we lose that, we've lost everything. And I've seen firsthand some of the work that goes on with all of these kinds of things. Out west, it was beautiful. And now it's strip mines and a lot of mines for the stuff that's under there. Big, big business. So please, please hear my plea. Be appreciative of what we have, and let's do what we can now that we have been informed. Thank you.
Page 5A, we have the chief's recommendation, which is he needs a motion to make made to accept the AFG 2011 Safer Grant of $128,366. I'll make that a motion. Motion is made to support to accept this grant. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll probably have to do a roll call. Yes.
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 Motion carried. And then also, second paragraph, if the board so desires, the open period. The open, where did it go? Open period to apply for the AFG 2000 Trim Saver grant is now. Does the board wish to apply for a grant? And at this time, he's not sure exactly what he wants to apply for, but he needs okay within the time period. I'll make a motion that we allow him to apply for this AFG 2012 Safer grant. Motion made and supported to go for the grant.
This is also a no matching.
That's correct. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. DPW. Do you have your DPW report there? Is there any Herb's here? Is there any questions on Herb's report? Hearing none, we will accept it for the record. Thank you, Herb.
I have a question for her.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything from you, but is vandalism up in the parks?
I think it's up everywhere.
Because I'm hearing it out there, but I haven't heard what's been done or what's been broken. Or like last year, the picnic tables, we had them paint them, and then at the end of the year, it was the door, but I haven't heard of vandalized this year.
I've actually heard more just through keeping my ear to the grindstone of garages in the local area, pole barns, trucks parked right on Apple Avenue getting broken into. As far as vandalism to the park, it's the same that we always get. Feces on the wall in the park bathrooms, the ceilings, paper towel, toilet paper in the
And
commodes.
so everything that we've
A
always.
little bit of graffiti on the picnic table is nothing that we can't take care of, but we had some issues at Flickum at the beginning of the year. We caught some people trying to burn down the dugouts, the police caught them kids, and we helped the police actually catch those perpetrators.
Okay, so basically the same thing we've been dealing with year after year.
Yes, but
Okay.
I think local people around with cars, trucks, pole barns have a lot more issues in broad daylight, more than I've ever heard in the past.
That's my only question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The cemetery and parks look great. And who's the gentleman that's watching the leaf site?
Melvin Dousman, he had some community service, but he did such an excellent job.
He was there Sunday, the last couple of
Yeah, he's been there a couple
Sundays.
weekends, he'd bring his own rake, his own lawnmower. Every time I checked on him, he was working. I actually wish I could hire the guy.
Yeah.
He really is a super help. His hours are all done, but he actually caught a dozen different people trying to get in from other townships to use our leaf site, sent them away, and we really had no issues with anyone talking back to him. And they left. They knew they were wrong, and so we kept 12 different people out of our own leaf site in 2 different weekends.
Good job, yeah. Thank you.
On the issue on the park damages, I talked to Sheriff Rosler, and I asked him to start making some presents in those parks. I stated that we see, policemen sitting around doing their paperwork. I said, why can't they do it, sit in the park and do their paperwork, and Sunset Beach? So he assured me he would send those people out there. So
I mean,
hopefully
with such a big crowd, I mean, anyone that can see anything, if you can call 911 or call anyone that can come up and respond. I mean, it's a community thing, and if you see anything happening at the parks or at the beach or at the leaf site or anywhere, call 911 and let's work together.
Thanks, Herb.
Herb, that culvert underneath the Wolf Lake and West Bay, is that been checked recently?
Yes, the water levels are way down because of the drought, because of the lack of rain, and it right now is dry as a bone.
But it's clear, there's nothing
I
blocking
haven't
it?
crawled in there per se, but I can take a look and get back with you
Take a look
tomorrow.
at, yeah, and let us know
Yeah.
what's going on there and make sure that that's cleared out.
No
Because
problem.
For some reason, I think that we need to make sure we check that regularly.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herb.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Herb. Okay, we'll move on to the library purchase request. I'll refer to the clerk.
Andrew Hammond, our librarian, approached me and asked if there were funds available in capital improvement funds for him to purchase some of these items. There is currently the funds available. It's not rent money, it's money that we put into a fund for capital purchases. So I told him I would bring this request to the board.
Make a motion to approve. Support.
Motion made and supported to purchase these items. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Debbie?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Bethany?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we have the Sullivan Road estimate you have in your packet there. And a lot of money. And on this issue, I've been thinking about this quite a bit lately, since the last meeting, and looked up some issues on roads. And what I would propose to do, in fact, I'm making a motion that the supervisor be allowed to put together a committee of these people, and over the winter we could look at our options, these people, you know, some of the public, and look at our options and see what we can do. That's a motion.
I'll support that.
Motion been made and supported. Go ahead and put together a committee. Any discussion?
Is that just discussion on Sullivan Road or roads for?
Roads in general.
Okay.
What directive is this committee going to be given?
To look into the possibilities of what our options are, study our options, bring something back to the board.
Options and referring to what?
Road work, whatever we can do for our roads. Right now, I don't have a real good direction on it. The committee will take its direction.
And they'll bring us their suggestions, what you're saying.
That's what I'm hoping for, yeah.
Something we can build into next year's budget.
Hopefully.
Just an example of Sullivan Road, they want $371,000. Put a road in there. That'd be from M46 to, it says north to the township line, must be
It'd be
south.
south, yeah. We don't know north and south.
Drive down Shatterson Road once, that road's terrible.
Yes.
Got a lot
Well,
of-
that's what this committee, that's what I'm hoping this committee can study, and we'll get the road commission to come right out and meet with us. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I have a list of 10 roads that I would like them to at least drive by before after they make this committee,
Okay.
you know. I have a suggestion. And that's just off the top of my head, and Chatterson wasn't one of them, and now that she said that, Chatterson is one of them because she's right.
I think
So-
our biggest issue is funding, figure out what we can do for funding
Yeah.
for it. And anyone would like to be part of this committee, please contact me and put it together. So, okay? New business. Any new business? 1 to 10, which is old business. Number 8 is the fire station. Is there anything to report on the fire station?
Yeah, I got a couple things, Mike. Working with the chief and the people involved, West Shore, Mayville, and Renders. They're finalizing the plans, the design, that are going to be on temporary property, 4970. Then we got to move them on to rural development for their approval. Number 2, we've been working on Renders Engineering with Dave Mayville and Paul Bristol. We've got to get the contracts approved by rural development as well, and then bring them on to Dave, and then bring them to the board. I think I brought up in the joint meeting also about with the DEQ and West Shore helping us to get a closeout letter so we can finalize that also. And we'll keep it moving forward. I do have one issue when we talk about rumors and what's been going on with this fire station. And I'm going to name names. Randy Whipple accused me of spending $40,000 to $50,000, and I want to be clear that I have not since May spent $40,000 to $50,000 of taxpayers' money. I'll make sure that the township and I will make an accounting of what's been spent necessarily, and also the money that I've saved the township. So I just want to squall any rumors out there, put it to rest, so we can move forward with this project. So, then we'll go from there.
Any other discussion on that issue?
So when are you gonna start building it then?
It probably won't be started till spring. That's the recommendation.
Started
Excuse me?
this spring.
This coming, well, there's no way we could have built it this spring. There's been too much interference to try and keep it here on the spot without temporarily, or without moving it to the 4970 property, where it's gonna stay right here. So
It is going to stay here?
that's my choice. It depends on who's gonna be elected or re-elected. They've made their decisions, obviously, in the paper. Mike Thompson and Marie Harger say if they get elected or re-elected, they will vote to move it to 4970. Beth Ann's not made a decision one way or the other, going by the chronicles they have. She can trust.
Let's stay away from the political.
Well, Mike, it's not political. Let me finish.
You had a
Let me finish. I don't know what she's decided, but I'm doing what I can to keep it here, and that's that, so.
Thank you.
Okay?
You got any more figures on the temporary site?
No. When we get them compiled, we'll bring them to the board.
Okay.
Are you gonna sell that temporary property then?
I think my choice is once it's done, yes, put it back up for sale.
Are you gonna be able to make, what you paid for it?
That's not up to me. That'll be a board decision. We want it to put up for sale.
Think about putting another business on that little site?
That's
maybe
not my,
a miniature golf or something, or the area, or what?
Steak and shake.
Alrighty, let's move on. Excuse me, folks, let's keep going here. 10B, the Sunset Beach, right now that's in the hands of the state deciding whether we've given enough information or not. That's all I can say at this time. Okay, number 11, we have the correspondence, we have the festival minutes for the record. We have a couple letters, both for the record. And then we have number 12, we go on to citizens' comments. Are there any more citizens' comments?
Regarding the roads, again, what exactly were you going to do? I think we understood it.
Just put together a committee to see what we can do.
Okay, and this committee is going to be of who?
Whoever wants to be on it. Would you like to be
Whoever
on it?
wants to be on it. Oh, yeah, definitely, I'll
Okay.
be on it.
The lady
Yeah.
over here said she wanted to be on it.
So when is that going to be put together?
If I get a few names, we'll get it put together. I can't say exactly, but as soon as possible.
So you have to put together a committee to decide how to come up with the money for the roads. When we have a whole board, who should be able to figure that out?
Well, it takes a lot of looking in depth into it and seeing what we can do.
Well, I
I
have
don't know
here
anything about it.
a petition from residents on Sullivan Road to get it repaired.
Okay.
So we need a full-time board. Does everybody need to work full-time here? I've checked with other townships and they're not doing that. They're cost saving.
I'm part-time.
So that's good. So I'm thinking maybe others, maybe it's time to cut some benefits a little bit around here. Because evidently, you're struggling. You can't maintain the roads. You just absolutely refuse to cost share with the county. Absolutely refuse. And I don't think your minds are gonna change. Because if they would have changed, you would have been doing something about it. And people are fed up. So I really, like I said, we can try the committee, but I don't really foresee it working. Because I think it's you on the board that made your mind up that you don't want to pay for it. And if you don't want to pay for it, how is the committee gonna make you pay for it? You want us to try and figure where to get the money from. That's not our job, that's yours, each and every one of you. It's your job.
and you need to start doing your job. Okay? Hi, it's Lois Bryant again. I'm a little confused, and I am going to bring up the fire station. I know you're all dreading that. We have been going to keep it, going to move it, going to keep it, going to move it. This board has decided we were going to keep it where it's at. Now we're hearing that if so-and-so's elected, it's going to get moved again. I would like to take a poll right now. Who's moving it and who's keeping it?
You can take a poll on your, there was a poll taken earlier. You can take a poll on your own if you like, but.
I'm asking you. I don't want a poll here. I want it there. I want you to tell me, Mike, if you're re-elected, where is our fire station going to go?
I believe that fire station should go down the road. That's what I believe.
Even though you know that we do not have enough property down there to turn our trucks around, to build a station that you have presented to this township, and know that we are going to have to either borrow, use, or purchase property from Apple Car Village to sustain that fire department down there.
You telling me what I know or what I think?
No, I'm telling you what you have said in past meetings, what you have said, and what you just said today.
You're telling me there's not enough room. The architects, the engineers, and the fire chief says there's enough room.
Then why did you not rebuttal on the meeting that we were here talking about not moving them? And it was the big one. It was the very first one that before we started recording these sessions, that when, I can't remember her name, I'm going to say Kelly got up and showed with the pencil. Do you remember that? Sandy, I'm sorry, I didn't remember your name. You never rebutted or reacted to what she explained on that. You left us all leave here with the impression that that's exactly what's going to happen. We won't be able to back our trucks out of the back of that barn. We will not without going on Apple Car property.
She was showing you the station back here between the whole existing fire station and the DPW. That's what she was showing.
No, she was not.
No.
Sandy,
I was showing exactly what she said. Pull out of the
Exactly.
front of that building, you didn't have enough room to close the door without your bumper being on the sidewalk.
Correct.
Exactly.
See, I'm not the only one that heard.
I'm my mistake.
So I'm asking. Tomorrow is the vote.
Lois, it doesn't matter what they're gonna say tonight, because I asked them at the last meeting, and they all said they'd keep it here. Every last one of them.
Keep the meeting up here. Let's keep the meeting up here.
I'm trying to,
Okay.
I'm just asking for an answer.
I don't think you're going to get an answer to that tonight.
I'd like to answer, because if you want to poll all of us, I don't have anything to hide. And I'm going to keep it right here at the present location. This is what was presented to you as a residents, as a community. It was what was presented in the proposal that all of you voted on, and I'm not going to mislead this community. I'm going to keep it here. I have voted all along, go back 2 years from this fire station as it started getting heated. And I wish all of you would have been here 2 years ago when it all started, because from the very beginning, I continuously voted no, because we was not ready, we was not prepared, we didn't have the facts that we needed to present to you. So it will stay here if I'm reelected.
I'm going to say the same thing I said in the paper, the same thing I said.
I don't get the paper, Beth Ann.
Let me finish. The same thing I said when Sandy asked, the same thing I said when Craig Scott asked. The reason why I want it down there, or I voted down there, to have it down there, is to, number one, save cost and safety. If the board chooses, right now the board has chosen to move it down there, so let's go forward and move it down there. No! I mean here, temporary, move it down there and have it here. Oh my God. Excuse me, I meant temporary, move it down there and have it here.
Joan?
It's staying here, that's what we
Amen.
I know you're meeting on fall,
I'm really sad.
but I still want your opinion.
It's stay here as far as I'm concerned.
Great.
As a board of 7 to keep it here now. We did originally vote to move it down to 4970 East Apple Avenue because we were given relocation costs of approximately $264,000 up to $350,000. those numbers still came back when you made that vote to keep it here, approximately $264,000. I originally did not want to move it to 4970 East Apple Avenue. My original opinion was to move it further towards the center of the township, more like Apple Discount area because of the size of the property. That was originally what I had said. Seeing that we needed to make a decision and we needed to move this forward, I went along with the 4970 East Apple Avenue so we could get this thing started. If I were to get elected again, which I think this is posturing, I don't think that we probably should be doing this because this is totally against what we're supposed to be doing here tonight. But if the costs are over $264,000, you darn right I'll vote to move it back down there at 4970 East Apple Avenue. If John can get those relocation costs lowered like he says he can, then it has to stay here, because that's what we said.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. I just wanted to do the norm. When I went to the fire station meeting, everyone told me to get the facts. I got the facts that night before the election.
They weren't the facts.
Yeah, they were. I wrote it on the forum, John, and I will reread it in my head to everyone here.
The problem is, Lois, what people were told before the vote was not true. And I can back that up.
I know they weren't. And I can honestly say it's on Egelston Township forum. I wrote on it and said I was told to get the facts. And after I went to that meeting, I did.
We've got other people like to speak.
Okay, that's fine.
I'll finish
I'm used to being...
Good job.
Dwayne Nolan, 2483 Sullivan Road. I just, when Walt read the figures of $312,000 for Sullivan Road, 371. My jaw dropped. I've seen that, but if my jaw dropped, I think a lot of people here did too. I think it's only fair that you as a board inform these people what was offered to you by the county 2 weeks ago to do a half a mile of Sullivan Road. Would you do that?
I can't say it was a half a mile. I thought it was only 300 feet.
Well, then they were going to chip the rest to the intersection.
It was an $8,000 project, and I may not get my figures exactly right, but it was an $8,000 project of which we would have contributed $5,000. I believe it was to bring that new asphalt up another 300 foot to a better stopping point, is what the road commissioner had told us.
I mean, that's
as close to
and that's out the window. That's gone. You'll never get that offer like that again.
That's correct.
And the board turned that down.
That's correct.
Thank you.
My name is Pam Bryant. I live at 25 North Stewart Street. Now, I haven't been here for a while, so I don't really understand, but I thought the road commission took care of the roads. I didn't know the township did roads. And also, I remember when my grandmother's road got paved and they got curbs, and she had to pay for that, for her property. You know, how many feet she had on the road, that's how much she had to pay for the road to get improved there and for the curbs. I mean, I know that probably wasn't the full amount, but they had to pay too to have their road improved in front of their house. So I don't understand why the township is supposed to pay for the, I didn't know you guys paid for the road, and if it does, we have a lot of holes on Stewart Street. You know.
Roger Lowe again. I haven't been down the road, Park Street, going to the school where the school buses have to go down through. And I don't know how bad Sullivan Road is, but I'll tell you one thing right there. Before you get to the schools, it is doing a lot of damage. I mean, there's a lot of potholes there and it's not being taken care of. And another thing that I wanted to bring up, as far as this fire department deal, how long are we, the people involved in that vote that we took? I mean, how long can you hold us to that vote? I mean, if you're going to move it here and move it there and everything, why don't we have another vote on that? Yeah, but how long can they hold us for that?
Second, sir, I'll try to get you an answer. Dave, can you answer that?
So you either build it or you decide not to build it.
And it was voted with I mean, we voted to build it here, right? Okay.
Something that would have to be done by February or March, so,
March.
or we lose, or potentially lose the funding.
My name is Nikki Durbin. I just have a few things. I can't recall the exact date, but there was a few meetings ago when there was a gentleman who pleaded for the board to have his road watered down for the health of his wife. What has been done about that? Has anything been done?
Nothing. We have the people.
I have a problem with that considering we okayed somebody to use their own truck to fill up water at the station for free. They use their own truck to do so. At that time, it was asked, can't we do that for this family? Joan asked that question. I was not going to quote because I don't remember. I just remember it was brought up by a board member. Well, can't we do this to take care of that family? The board said, yeah, absolutely. We'll get on that. We'll do something about that. There's been letters going around the township that it hasn't been done. And I'd like to know why. There's nothing holding that back. We have the water supply. We have plenty of water trucks if they didn't have a truck of their own. Why should a township member who came to the board and pleaded for his wife's health and her, I mean, that's her safety, that's just not her health. Why hasn't something been done? They essentially pay your taxes. They're who paid for you guys to be up there.
Exactly.
This board has decided not to pay for road grinding. It has nothing to do with one road in particular, but this board has voted not to pay that cost.
Okay, so why was it discussed at the last meeting that something would be done about that?
It
And
was an idea about the guy who got the water, he paid $15 or something for water, or would have paid $15 for water. If he would take his equipment and go water the roads. Well, just watering the roads is pretty insignificant. It just doesn't last that long. It requires chemicals, which is chloride. And that's where the expense comes in.
$400.
Wasn't it Dino Wilkerson? Wasn't it Mr. Wilkerson that got the water? Yeah, wasn't it Mr. Wilkerson that got the water, or
Yeah.
Dino?
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I mean, he donates stuff all the time to the schools and stuff. I bet you if we'd have asked him, like Joan suggested, if we'd have said to him to go down there and water that, he would have done it. I think he
Just
would have done
water,
it.
just water is,
Anything.
isn't that something, isn't that better than anything?
Let us talk.
I mean, that's just, to me, it's, you know. Go ahead.
We have went to the county, we've been to the township, we've been to everybody every spring. We've tried watering it on our own. We were even suggested by a person to go to Quicks and get all their dirty old cooking oil put on the road. All right, that cooking oil is hazardous to other people. We wouldn't do something like that. That's wrong. County told us it's 49. If I had known 25 years ago, when I moved onto that road, that they were no longer gonna maintain it, I wouldn't have moved into this township. I was born and raised here in 1947. And I came back here because this is where I wanted to be. But right now, it is one heck of a place to be on that particular road. It's not a long road. It's one block. That's all I'm asking for. That's all we've ever asked for.
What road are you talking about?
It's Circle Drive, and it's between Park Street and Wilson. It's a very small road.
208 feet.
I don't ask for a whole heck of a lot. I really haven't. I mean, I want some brine. You know, if I could get out there and make it myself, I would do it. But all I can do during the day is sit and do things at home. I cannot get up and walk. I tried walking around the block. It doesn't help. You know, I know there's a lot of other health issues. I'm a diabetic. I have COPD. I have asthma, chronic bronchitis. And as long as you were here at the other meeting, you heard all that. But why? Why can you talk about a Sunset Beach project? Thousands and thousands and thousands into the fire department, which, like I said, I love the fire department, I'm not against that. But why can you do all that and you cannot come up with $1,000 to brine a road?
That's very unfortunate.
I mean, you know, my doctor doesn't give me long to live, and what I do, when I can live, I would like to enjoy the rest of my life. I would like to be able to sit on my deck. I'd love to go get in my pool at any one time. I can't because people go down my road. I want street signs. I would like stop signs on the corners. I'd like speed limit signs. I would like signs that say, slow down, children at play. I don't care what kind of sign. Anything that would stop the dust on that road. People think it's a racetrack. I would love for any of you to come out there and sit on my corner anytime from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about 10 o'clock at night and watch the dust fly. Watch the people hot rodding up and down those roads. I guess that's all I have to say.
My other comment, just when you guys started talking about committees, I just wanna, if the public's not aware of the last committee that was formed for the fire department and the chaos that that caused, I'm just saying be cautious when it comes to forming another committee when it's something that they want homework done for. Just stating a fact.
Craig Scott, 592 Whispering Oaks Drive. For a lot of people that come to these meetings, you probably know me, you know what I stand for, you know what I believe in. I just want to make a statement that there's a 7-member board up there, and for almost 2 years now, we've been talking about this fire station. It was voted down by the public to move it. It was voted by the public to leave it where it's at. There's only a couple of things that come to mind that would cause me to wonder why this board believes it has the right to outvote the public when it's put before the public. One is, quite frankly, arrogance. The other is you didn't do your homework. And at this point, there are 4 members of this board that have voted to listen to the public. 3 of those members are running for re-election in the seats that they're currently in. 1 is not. Thank you for your service again, all. There are 3 members of this board that continue to vote against what the public asked for. So my statement is this: if you've got a board that votes against you, how are you going to vote for them? Thank you.
I'm Dr. Aspley, Red Broken Road, and I sure appreciate it being here tonight, but one question I have: where were you during the whole session this 2 years? We see in this community, people do not participate in our process. And the people who are elected, are voted in, they say it's a reflection of the voters. How can people vote when they don't know the issues? This is something we got to think about. This township has a lot of potential, but everybody here. I came from New Hampshire. The town meetings out there, volunteerism. When it comes to the meetings, everybody is there. It's their community. The other thing I think about the board up here, and I think about what's going on. We've got to be example. How can we be example if we don't follow the rules that we have? Our zoning commission. The zone, I understand that the requirement to have 3 acres. I also said, well, we could change that. Is this stability of our government that we as a person can change according to our wills? This is something we've got to think about. Do we have a right to do that? Are we an example? Are we really leaders? This is something right here that's very worrisome. The other thing is, you know, there's been a lot of turmoil in the government and this thing, and it's too bad. I see things going personal for people's viewpoints when it is their viewpoints. John Stuart Mill says one thing: to know the subject, we got to know the other side of it. And that's how our government is proceeded. That is how we run our country. It used to be anyway. But maybe we can show in Egelston Township that we can get back to that. That we can sit back and facilitate each other. The viewpoints is not a personal thing, but we have got to stop and consider the feelings of people here, the citizens on the board, everybody is here. We can disagree, that's good. Our founding fathers disagreed, and all of that disagreement, we had a good government. The townships, for example, this is an exception to it. This is, we're supposed to be friends, we're supposed to be neighbors, we're supposed to participate. I've been to meetings of one or two sitting in the back here, and yet when something comes up, we're all here. I'd admonish everybody, if they're going to vote, that they know what is going on, that they participate in this government right here, they attend it. I wonder if they don't, do we have a right to criticize people? Do we have this right? These are something to think about. The other thing I think about too, when it comes to election officials, we've got to rise above it. We just can't vote for our friends. We've got to vote for who can do the job the best. And this is one thing we've got to consider about. The signs can't do anything. We've got to look upon what is the reason why they're here. What are we going to do for our township? This is what we got to do. We got to have a new change in here. The fighting has got to stop. Channel 13, for example, that was on the national TV and down in Texas on the thing. My son saw it. And he kind of shook his head. What kind of a township is this? And I want everybody to think about that. Everybody up in front to think about it. Now we're getting back to the thing on the board, and getting back to the fire station. We got to have a fire station. We certainly do. We're here, the purpose of our government is to protect life and property. But you know something? I also think we should be example here. I think we should ought to follow the laws that we make. And that site right there, of my knowledge, and I checked at it, does not include the 3 acres. And this is something here we got to set back. We got to be leaders, and we got to lead. We got to support. We're here. We got to support the regulations we have. If we don't do it, does anybody in this township have to do it? And this is my big concern about the fire department. I just think it's something they got to get back to it. I think they got to get back to be an example. People look up to them. I listen to people. Why don't you go down there? Negative feelings. Negative. They don't want to participate. Well, I hope tonight is a new start. I hope that we can all think about it, voting tomorrow. Just vote for the individual that we can know the job, not just because somebody for their own benefit on the thing, their own sense of power, whoever they are, or the money they get out of it. I think we should have a city. I think we should have a township manager, someone that can sit back and guide the trustees and so forth, and maybe do some changes here. But this has got to change. Above all, we have got to stop going after people so tough and going back and arguing. If we can't get along, there's not somebody that can be here.
Chatterson Road. I'll be on your committee, Mike, for roads. I'll figure out a way how to fix our brine problem. That's one of the things that I want to work on.
Yep.
And I'll help you, John, if you need help, you give me a call.
Thank you.
Doing this now because I'm retired.
You're in love, I live on Hill Park Road. I got a question for you. At the end of my road, there's a tree business down there. And they come down my road with semis filled with, tree stumps and whatever, and they dump it down at the end of the road. Is there any kind of load restrictions for that? Because I've noticed my street, my road's been deteriorating, you know, the sides have been cracking, the asphalt. Is there any kind of limitation on that?
There is weight restrictions, usually in the spring when the frost is coming in the ground.
That's it.
When it causes the work, that's what the county has, yes. We do not have any, at the township level, any truck routes that are.
Is that a normal thing is to have a business and them running these semis down the road all the time?
In some cases, yes.
In a residential neighborhood?
Well, that business has been there for a long time, I believe.
No, it hasn't.
Well, I don't know the facts, so then I can't.
Yeah, I know, because I've lived there longer than that.
On the east side of the road?
Me?
No, the business.
He lives on the east side, but he bought the property on the other side. But, you know, it's just the fact that, you know, you got these big semis, you know, for planks with their big double semis running down there, with all this lumber in them. You know, and you wonder why roads are going down.
Do you know if it's been turned into our administrator for zoning and justice?
That's why I'm here today, I'm asking you this. I have no idea.
It's not on his list the last time we had the list, so.
I don't want to get the guy in trouble, but, you know, since you're here talking about the roads, you know, there's a prime example right there.
Well, if he has an address, he can give it to Jeff, and Jeff can check into the business.
No. Tom Boardman, tree service.